what we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen?
Great. That's great. That's basically, so anyone that's slicing the ball because they're coming outside over the top, first thing you want to do is check out and make sure your grip is good. Make sure your left wrist is on top of the grip. Don't let it get in front. Make sure start with probably the club in the middle of your body rather than too far forward, or definitely not a high. You'd have, as Martin was saying, the angle is there. You don't want to have it too much like this. You want to have it more neutral so your wrists will work freely. Once you've got the grip, it's important to realize that you're not trying to make the club head go down this line. You need to think of the club head going down and out towards the ball, and the action of the hands drives the shaft in line with the lead arm, not out of line. And you're not pulling it down, otherwise your body will take you outside. You're throwing it down. The harder you throw, the later this angle will release, but as long as it's on this correct line, you won't get throwaway. You only get throwaway when you throw it somewhere else other than at the golf ball. So as you throw down towards the ball, the harder you throw, the better your body responds. So you don't have to think about your body. You just have to throw the club head with your hands down and out to the ball. In the process, the club will naturally want to, it will go from open, it'll want to close. So don't impede that. Allow the toe to go. The next thing that we came out of that is, whatever you do not start out of sequence. If you start club head first, or arms first, or shoulders first, they'll have a tendency to get your arms across your chest, and then you're either going to get stuck behind, but more often than not, you'll come out over the top. So allow the club head to stay outside your hands at the start of your swing, don't get it under, and you will have a natural tendency to want to come on that A to B line, and you won't come over the top to slice. That was a lot.
I think that's pretty thorough slice fix behavior, don't you? What's the next one? Are we talking hooks now, Chris? Or is there a question?
Sorry, yes, we are talking hooks, and I'll just bring up the screen here. So we're talking about the hook shot and the block shot, and they're in some ways related, aren't they? So let's discuss the hook and the block.
Yeah, so I mean, I think every golfer is gonna go through this. I know as a young man, as a little kid starting golf, I hated seeing the ball curve to the right. Now as an older guy, I hate seeing the ball go to the left. Sometimes I think that, I worked so hard as a kid to, adopt kind of Ben Hogan's bowed left wrist, along with my coach George Knudsen, helping me do a lot of the stuff that Peter teaches. I got the club face a little too strong to the path at different times in my career as a player, and I would fight over drawing the ball. Some of the things that lead to inconsistency of the face, and I'm holding a hockey stick right now because my Maple Leafs are playing the Montreal Canadiens as we speak. That's how much I love Peter. I'm not watching a hockey game. I'm on here with you, buddy, and Chris. So certain things to have some face control, obviously, to me, an orthodox functional grip is helpful. Not to say that different variations of grips can't work. They can. And, as a teacher, I always say, if you change a grip, you lose a friend. I always start anytime I'm going to change a grip of a student that doesn't play well, I'll preface that. I'll always say, hey, listen, there's a joke. This is the joke. This is why. But I want them to have club face control. Now, the same behaviors that help you deliver or get rid of a slice, the sense of how to use your arms and hands properly, are the same behaviors that help you get rid of a hook. Because the sensations of a hook, like a lot of guys will hook it by extending their body. Their body will invade the space of where the handle is. Just to hit it, just to get the shot over with, you've got to kind of roll the face and then that's sort of a smothery hook that's out of play. So when you are using the pressure going A to B properly, your trail arm stays in front of you. It's not one of those situations where the club gets stuck behind you, where you invade the space of where the handle is, and then you have no choice but to flip the face over. If your trail arm, if you're going A to B properly, you've got the arms in front of your body more, and then from there you can rotate, and you're way more likely to have control of the face rather than what I call, or Peter called, and I use all the time, running out of right arm.
Yes. Basically, the hook shot, you really feel it through the impact zone. You really feel the clubhead flips over. That's kind of the ball that really curves. There's a lot of excessive club face closure. So that really starts, the real severe hook occurs when the person is coming outside in, and this is kind of the full hook, and the club face flips over. And so they're off to the left with a full hook. But the one that hits out to the right and gets too much curve, it's usually because, is what Martin was saying there, that they don't have control of the club face through their hands. When they're coming down here, they either get the club face closed too soon, or they have it too closed in the backswing. But when they come down from here, if my body happens to slide sideways, now I've got nowhere to go except I'm either going to block it out to the right, and if you're playing out in the golf course, you do one of those, and the next tee you definitely don't want to do that, so you start to get a little bit more hand action, and so you get this breakdown through the ball, this excessive roll of the club face, usually combined with too much sideways transfer, and then you can't clear your hip, so the club flips over. So 2 things to stop the hook. Firstly, don't slide, because when you slide forward, the club gets in behind you too much. So you only got 2 ways to go now. You're either going to block it out to the right, or you're going to make a recovery move, which will be closing over. So doing that, that's disaster. So don't slide with your hips. When you're back here, you'll see all the guys now, they're really, this left foot, they're not over here. Their left side, especially with the driver, you'll see them, they twist, this foot twists, and they haven't got their weight over here. They're hitting away from their back foot, and they're allowing this release to create this sort of action of the wrist through the ball. So you're not rolling the right hand over. The right hand comes down this way. You're not trying to close it. It's the left hand that'll help square the club face. But through the impact zone, I think it's so important that the hooker and the slicer, that they realize that as the club comes down, it's the shaft's uncocking in line with the lead arm. But as it does, those last 3 fingers of that lead hand must curl. And this gives you that kind of forward lean of Ben Hogan. And that's an anti-hook attitude through impact. This is a hook through impact. I'll hand back to Martin on that one. I see he's got his big.
Yeah. So, a simple, and I would agree with Peter, you see a lot of, I would say that pelvis location relative to your feet play a huge role in where your club path is going to be, as will ball location. So if I have a wider stance, slightly outside of my hip joints, and I have a forward golf ball location, my club path could potentially be neutral or even fade bias. The more forward the golf ball is, the more to my left for the right-handed golfer that this path is going to be. Now, it's really easy for the stronger golfer, the stronger, more experienced golfer to get prone to hooking the golf ball, because it's easy to feel weight pressure get from the top too early onto the lead side. Now all of a sudden you're stuck. Your hip's too much on top of your foot. You've got to push. And then from there, you're going to, unfortunately, probably overdo rotation. You really don't have a choice. So the sensation to help people struggling with hooks is to learn how the sense of unwinding within your feet. So when you're going A to B, unwind A to B within your feet. My pelvis is within my feet. The club overtakes. Then after that, my momentum will carry me to where I can look like Rory McIlroy on my lead side in a finish. So you have a choice as a golfer where your weight pressure wants to go. If it gets too much on top of your lead side, which a lot of people say they don't get through the golf ball, and we see them way here, then they've got to back clear out of it. It's more of a gradual sensation where you can unwind within your feet, hit a golf ball with nice impact alignments, and that momentum will carry you to a finish.
What we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen, great to be with you. Peter, it's a pleasure, pal. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks Chris, thanks Martin, and it will be great to be here. Just a little mention there, Martin has probably the #1 golf school in Arizona. There are a lot of golf schools there, but you've been rated #1, so that's nice to be in your school today. Okay.